Let's start with a little visual exercise, shall we? Close your eyes and think back to your childhood. Specifically, recall the times that you had fun playing in the water or swimming during hot summer days. Maybe you used a slip and slide, a hose, a sprinkler, water guns, whatever it was with your friends. After your day full of water-filled fun, you wake up the next day feeling content but thirsty after a long day of playing. You get up to fill a glass of water, but there's none in the fridge, so you try the sink, but only dust comes out. Then your parents or guardians tell you that the city has run out of water and that you'll have to go into the city and stand in line to receive water rations. As your mouth and throat become drier by the minute, wouldn't you wish that you had saved some of the water from the day before? This situation is known as a day zero and was an imminent reality for Cape Town, Africa in 2017. A day zero refers to the day when a town's water levels in the major dams that supply them fall below a critical point. This causes water restrictions to be implemented where citizens would have to wait in long lines in order to receive water rations in the city. Cape Town, in Africa, very narrowly avoided that unfortunate situation when it was dubbed the first modern city to run out of water by news reports, and it shone a light on the realities of the global water crisis facing many major cities. According to BOSAC, in 2014, in cities facing day zero, Tokyo, London, Los Angeles, Sao Paulo, Beijing, and Bangalore are some of the most water-stressed cities in the world, according to the Nature Conservancy, and each is facing a day zero in the next decade unless something is done. Over 85% of natural wetland areas are already lost, and 75% of the Earth's land surface is significantly altered, which reduces the ability of the Earth's ecosystems to support sustainable water. Now you can open your eyes. Now, let's look. 771 million people, or 1 out of every 10 person on the planet, lack access to clean drinking water. Women and girls spend an estimated 200 million hours carrying water every day. The average woman in rural Africa walks 6 kilometers or almost 4 miles every day to haul 40 pounds of water. Can you imagine having to do that every day? Between 2 and 3 billion people experience water shortages for at least 1 month per year. That's almost half of the population of the world. Globally, water scarcity is projected to double even for the urban population from 930 million people in 2016 to more than double that, up to 2.4 billion people will experience water scarcity in urban areas by 2050. So today, as you can see, I'll be speaking with you about the current global water crisis and what, if anything, can be done about it. After listening to my speech, you'll be inspired to take action and ensure that you and others will have continuous access to water that we all need in the coming years. Can we stop the global water crisis? This is a preview of what I'll be going over with my speech today. How much water do we have left? The fact that it's in our homes and in our foods, and how we can take the next step. So now that we're aware of how serious the situation is and what I'll be talking about today, let's get back to my first point. The first step to stopping the global water crisis is starting from our own homes, and let's go over some of the myths and facts that surround the water crisis. So one of the biggest myths is that we don't need to conserve water because the planet's covered in it. We have water everywhere. But over 97% of the Earth's water is seawater and is not drinkable, and it's very expensive and not very cost efficient to turn seawater into drinkable water. So only a small amount is actually accessible. Another myth is that the products we buy and consume don't influence the water crisis, which is a huge misconception because every purchase has a footprint. Half of water used in the world, more than half, comes from food, particularly animal products. One way to decrease water usage is to cut back on meat, especially beef, unfortunately. Water-saving devices, another myth is that water-saving devices don't really work or they're not worth the money, which upgrading your plumbing fixtures and appliances may cost a little bit up front, but will pay for themselves rather quickly and end up saving a lot of water. So now that we know that it starts in our homes and we've heard some of the myths and facts, where is it all going? Let's look at some statistics about what I just talked about and find out what the main culprit is and what we can do to impact it. So it starts at our homes. As you can see, I talked about water sense products in the last one. They've saved over 7.5 trillion gallons of water since 2006. Over 1.1 trillion gallons saved in 2022 alone. So that amount is increasing as more and more people install these products. The average American uses 82 gallons per day at home. And when you consider the products that they use and the food they eat and consume, that number is actually more like closer to 1,100 gallons per day when you consider the actual footprint of what they use. Water sense labeled products save 20% or more water and perform as well as standard ones. Can save typically around $130 and 13,000 gallons of water annually per person, and also help prevent a lot of the leaks that waste up to 9,400 gallons per year. As you can see, it's also in our food. That's one of the biggest misconceptions, is that what we eat doesn't really have a lot of water in it, but think of the amount of water it takes to grow the crops, to feed the animals. Growing alfalfa seeds, alfalfa, which is used to feed cows, takes a tremendous amount of water unnecessarily to transport. As you can see here, agricultural water use takes up over 75% of the water that we use, and while the water that we use at home, 11%, does make a huge difference, the biggest culprit there is agriculture, producing bread, wine, coffee, and most of our food takes up to 240 gallons to 1,000 gallons, but beef, the footprint is considered at around 1,800 gallons of water per pound of beef, so that takes by far the largest and ends up carrying the weight of about 10 trillion gallons of water used each year to supply American meat consumption, based on the average amount of meat consumed by an American each year and how much water weight that carries. Right now, it's estimated that it takes about 52.8 million gallons of water per second to feed the current global population. So how can we take the next step? What can we do? It's time and it's money donating, and on top of those water sense products, and making conscientious choices with our products and what we consume. The Nature Conservancy reported that 55% of the revenue came from donations. Another nonprofit showed that 506 volunteers led to 24 different events, which contributed to over 1,000 pounds of marine debris removed, 1,600 water samples collected, and almost 1,200 people trained to report pollution. So donations, whether given in the form of money or time, can and will always help organizations focused on water conservation make a significant impact to achieve their goals. So finally, now that you know what you can do and some of the information about the global water crisis, I'd like to ask you to do something today. Now that you're aware of just how much water is wasted in your home and used in the production of your food, which of you will choose to use water sense products instead of the appliances you have today? Give up meat completely and donate your time and money to a local water conservation charity. Okay, if that's asking quite a bit, and I understand you need to start a little bit smaller, how about tomorrow you choose one vegetarian option for one single meal and you donate $1 to a water conservation charity? Together, through small actions and decisions like these, we can literally save the world, and that's what it will take. And that's all I have for you today.